This show furnished by Karl Gerber and Employment Lawyers Group.
'Cause my draft is only 6 words long, yeah, and my argument's full of inconsistencies, so don't stop me now. Don't stop me.
This is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm Karl Gerber, and I'm white. Yes, I'm white. And I'm an employment discrimination lawyer who had a fever this week and has a horrible voice tonight. So tonight in our Employment Law VS sketch comedy show, I want to tell you disabling medical conditions are a severe problem in employment. As I have explained in earlier shows, the percent of employees with disabilities increases with age.
You're talking about people?
Yes, and here are more interesting facts. Persons with disabilities are less likely to have finished college than non-disabled people, and they are more likely to work part-time.
Oh, that's me. I voted for Trump.
You might be here on the wrong show.
Why we have laws?
Sometimes I wonder, because willfully creating boredom should be a crime.
Willfully creating boardrooms, huh?
What concerns me is when one is bored out of one's mind. That may result in spacing, zoning out, or falling asleep.
Nobody needs a boardroom. One bottle of early times do it every time.
You'd think I'd eventually get tired of these astrobogulous guests.
Ugh, you using all them unusual words. Willful boardrooms and astrobadugabalis. Does that have something to do with ostriches on Remus Helmsley Ostrich Ranch?
I'm sorry if you felt ostracized from this rancor.
We gonna talk about my disabling conditions or not?
Well, that would be horological, a horological thing to do, being this is a show about employment law.
Fine, but I ain't no horticulturalist. But I am growing purple buds for my antioxidants and inflammation.
My understanding is anthocyanins is no different than green cannabis, but it might contain more antioxidants.
Now, why would anybody want to eat an oxypad?
I feel there are vast cultural, political, and another thing I cannot say between us. This conversation is destined to be one misunderstanding after another.
Thank you. You're at liberty to be saying it. There's vast intellectual differences between us.
Are you sure? I thought perhaps you had a HS diploma or maybe a GED.
Me? I just fell off laughing there.
My mistake.
Thank you. I am having these feelings all up and down my rocky back like I saw you over at LAVC.
My instincts were right. Maybe you've completed 1 or 2 courses over there at LAVC.
Oh, I wish I did. That'd make me a scholar. I once went over there looking for them monarch butterflies. They're just great for starting a purge session with old Father Rishi Odinsky. He was on here last episode.
First of all, monarch butterflies are poisonous. Imbibing one would send you and your stomach into throes.
You mean up? The throws up?
Okay, and second of all, the monarch is the Valley College mascot. I don't know that there are excess monarch butterflies buzzing around for everyone to catch at LAVC.
I damn near had a vehicular accident 2 weeks past. Butterflies swarming all over them places these days. Whew, do you think we're gonna be okay with all them butterflies flying? Back and forth, up and down, back and forth.
Are you suggesting this could be like Invasion of the Birds?
I don't want no evil-eyed bird staring at me with him one eye and one wing until I'm in some coughing spell. Whoo-wee. Oh, I get them coughing spells every now and then. Hey, you got any bourbon?
Slow down, weird guest. I think we've missed a couple of things like what's your name, where are you from, why are you here, and is there going to be a point of this conversation?
Me and Podunk. We living on a fourble board in Oildale.
Oh, for the non-wildcats listening, can you explain what a fourble board is?
Why I gonna do a thing like that? You got all them radio listeners.
The signal for this particular station ends right before going up the grapevine on the Kern side. Maybe we should explain to our listeners a little about Oildale. I think it's technically part of Bakersfield, a little north of downtown in the 93008, I think. What would you say about Oildale, weird guess?
Don't y'all mess with Oildale.
I'm shaking in my steel-toe boots. I'm not just some fancy lawyer this week. I ran a roofing, plumbing, and framing, and a concrete crew and a masonry crew, including the day I had the fever.
I'm not talking about you saying stuff about Oildale. I am just saying anybody who ain't a 1%er better be watching their back braces.
Aren't the 1%ers a motorcycle gang who fancies themselves as pure white? Maybe even supremacists?
No, they're proud Americanos with an adjusted annual income of $480,130 or more.
Same difference? Huh?
What you think I do all day? Sit on my fourble board reading statistics about that dynamic field of sanitary database management?
I must confess, I pictured you sitting up on the fourble board with podunk sniffing your purple weed and scouring damn statistics on some liberal website.
The nerve of you, Mr. Gerber.
Well, what else is there to do in Oildale? Go beat up a minority?
Well, there sure is a lot of that in Oildale. You hear about that Jew couple who show up to the party around Christmas time? Ooh, they get themselves robbed and beaten up.
Well, that's terrible. Who did it?
Oh, just some of the people at the hoot.
Why would they beat up and rob fellow partygoers?
Because they were Jewish.
I wonder how the thugs knew they were Jewish.
Money?
What?
Maybe they had a lot of money.
Right. Presumably they walked in with balance sheets and a P&L. Actually, I heard that story from a client of mine in Bakersfield who presumably didn't know I was a Jew. I guess I wasn't carrying around a lot of money at the time.
You Jewish? I didn't mean to offend. Just reporting some of the news in Oildale.
As a discrimination lawyer, I hear it all. It's important that I be able to deal with all sorts of racist comments and actions. They have to be stated in the case.
I'm thinking that if somebody told that joke at work, it might be a case of religion harassment.
It could be perceived as offensive.
But what if it's news?
Well, that's a good point. Maybe repeating something offensive and using offensive language could still offend somebody.
A word o' dem granny wisdom. Stay away from Oildale if you aren't Weber's bread. Oops, that's racist too, ain't it?
Now, calling a white person Frosty or Weber's bread could be perceived as reverse to discrimination or harassment.
This sure is tough. Sometimes I think it's better to sit up on the fourble board working on my permanent tattoos.
Hey, could a lot of jokes about being white trash constitute ancestry harassment?
I never thought about none of that damn stuff.
There's a lot of comedy sketches these days about being white trash.
Maybe you and me, we can do one. I could be the Jew, and you could be the white person.
Only problem, I'm white.
Does that mean I'm a Jew?
Anyway, we just keep offending more and more people by the minute. It's pretty hard to discuss this stuff without offending someone, even if this is, an anti-discrimination show.
I am gonna fall down from the fourble board laughing, mayonnaise. We gotta discuss my disability.
And when we come back, I'd like to find out what in the world is wrong with this weird guest on the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show, heard on Talk Radio 790 KABC. Hope we're not offending anyone, but this is a real show about real discrimination issues. We'll be back in just a second.
Clear thinking. Free discussion. AM790 KABC.
This is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm Karl Gerber. I was Karl Gerber when I got rear-ended in a bad place in Bakersfield earlier this week before I got the fever. So we've got a weird guest on this show who has a disability, and I want to find out more about it. We should find out more about it because this is supposed to be a show about employment law.
Feel my fingers. Feel my fingers.
Try the wine. Here, has some wine.
Feel my fingers. Here, feel my fingers.
I try to avoid touching my clients. Even more so, the utterly bizarre guests I've got on this show. For all I know, they've been pregnant for 11 years, or they're a skinlet who lives below the ground.
Or they've got the most famous genital in the history of the world.
Yeah, that too.
You afraid to touch my fingers?
Is there a reason I should touch your fingers? Say, that's a nice gold ring you're wearing.
Oh, it passed down from my mama. Was my granny's before. It's generations old. Might be prehistoric. Could be like 5 million years old.
Is that when gold was formed on the earth?
You gotta touch my fingers, or you won't know about my disability.
Okay. Oh, your finger. Interesting.
I bet you a pile of Pringles I feel colder than a Blue Ribbon beer in the Blue Ridge Mountains, all covered with them blue teeth devices.
It's sort of warm in here. Your fingers didn't feel cold.
Spit it out! Spit it out! Spit it out onto the floor!
All right, your finger was a bit hard.
A bit! It's part rock!
Is that part of your disability?
Yes, sir!
Can you move your fingers like everyone else?
I sure can. I don't need no accommodation or nothing.
In order to be a disability, an employer has to accommodate or can't fire you. Your condition has to impair major life activities. If the general rocky feeling of your finger doesn't prevent you from doing anything, it might not be a disability.
What about the way they look, though?
Well, your fingers look normal to me.
Look at this! It takes me damn near an hour to do each finger up each morning. Can take me like 10 hours to do all 9 fingers.
You spend 10 hours doing your nails every morning? Well, are you obsessive compulsive? Is that the disability?
See, look. I rubbed some of this off. Now you see.
Your finger is a little gray. Did you get a skin graft or something?
No, I born like this. My mama was much worse. Granny, the worst. All rock.
Cosmetic disfigurements are disabilities. If you were made fun of due to the coloration of your skin, that could be a case.
My employer didn't know much about my true colors. I do nothing but come to my place of employment all made up.
Did you explain to them the nature of your disability?
I was too afraid. I didn't want Mama to go to jail. I didn't think they'd believe me.
Were you abused as a child? Is that how your fingers got like this?
My mama wasn't no educated woman or nothing. My daddy neither. He was a roughneck. But my mama did the best she could. Boy, was she strong. My parents go sailing once on the Kern River, and they don't need no winch on the boat. But mama never lay a rocky hand on me or play none of that rock, paper, scissors game with me. Papa neither.
Okay, your finger is a bit rocky. You claim you have full mobility. Your employer didn't know about your skin discoloration. And so how is this disabling? Something your employer was aware of?
What if they fired me on account of me being white trash?
The appellation of white trash is not a protected characteristic. That's not a race or national origin.
Thank you. With a bowl of beer nuts. I was born in California, IA. I wasn't born in them backwoods of Tennessee or nothing to a racist couple.
Employers aren't liable for what they don't know about or suspect. You didn't ask to be accommodated, did you?
There was one time when I was asked to shut all them inside windows 'cause the smell of manure was crossing town.
Yes, that is a problem sometimes in the Bakersfield area.
Oh, is it ever? Even when a bunch of them buds open? Oh, off the record, not the purple ones. The bottles we were using to refreshen up the air, it still smelled like cows and manure. Now, what's so bad about that anyway?
Did you shut the window?
Yes, sir. It was a little forceful, but nothing major.
Was there a reason for your job termination your employer gave you?
It ain't no surprise. They say I ain't a good cultural fit. That's what they all say.
How many employers have told you this?
Except for that guy, Kevin. I worked for him before he hired that general contractor, Jamie. Kevin said I was just right for the people he represented. I was thinking about maybe getting into politics too, but Mama had an accident and one of her fingers, it snapped right off.
Oh, wow, it sounds like you have some sort of inherited joint or skin condition.
Do I ever? With me being second generation, I ain't as bad as Mama. She's deaf, you know. Granny, whew, even worse.
Is there a name for your condition?
Nope. Me and Mama are the only two things on earth ever. There ain't nothing like us up here.
In order to be a disability, the condition doesn't have to have a diagnosis or name as long as the symptoms qualify.
What you mean qualify?
Let me read it to you. The condition must impose limits to major life activities without regard to no mitigating measures.
You talking all them big words. How am I supposed to understand this?
A mitigating measure might be a medication. Maybe somebody has a condition and they're okay if they take a medication.
There ain't no pills for my condition. I wish there were. If there was a Dr. Zhivago out there for me, it don't matter whether it's the swing shift or one-on-one talk radio near closing time for me or a day shift Dr. Zhivago. So long as they got one of them little bug-shaped pills and one of them natural citrus pills, and I'm all cured.
Interesting. Mitigating measures might also be time off to recuperate or some type of more frequent rest breaks.
Oh, there was no time to rest in my job. There were flies to swat all dang day long.
Well, this raises a good point. What was your job?
Besides swatting flies?
Yes, or was that a primary job function?
Yeah, I'd say I spent about 75% of my time swatting flies.
What did you do the rest of the time?
About 10% taking the flies out of the food and the other 10% cooking.
That only adds up to 95. What about the other 5%?
Why you saying other all the time?
I try to adopt the language of the witness. There are less fights about it that way. What a word means or whether the witness understands the words.
Yes, sir. I am witness to lots of plumbing problems over at that there house leader office in town. Over in Bakersfield.
Are you a cook?
At that particular job where I been fired, I cooked sometimes.
Were you really hired to swat flies 75% of the time?
What else am I supposed to do? All that buzzing makes me nervous. I gotta use my hands.
How long did you have this job?
About 3 days, maybe 2.
You have come on to this show to report a job you were fired from after only 3 days?
I could have learned to fry an egg. In time, I know they would have loved my mayonnaise and spray cheese over saltine cracker derbies.
Hey, I wonder if you would eat a possum sack.
Would I ever?
You know what's really elegant with a possum sack? Canned pears on lettuce filled with mayo and a maraschino cherry to top it off.
Oh, honey, my mouth is a-watering.
I'm ready to vomit. I mean, purge. Where is Father Rishi Yadinsky when we need him?
I was thinking about becoming one of his adhesives, but he said he wouldn't want to put me in his mouth and spit me out. I'm filled with too much impureness.
Fried chicken livers with crunch Pringles on top. Is that what you're made of? How's that for you?
A super Sunday supper. That's what fried chicken livers and crunch Pringles are up on the fourble board.
Now that we're on the same page, what is really going on here?
7 or 13 jobs fired me and say I'm not a good fit.
Firing someone for not being a good fit isn't against the law unless the underlying reason is because the employee was a whistleblower or there's a job termination due to a protected characteristic like a disability.
If I become your client, could you hire me?
There are all sorts of ethical rules about not doing business with your clients and the disclosures and consents you'd have to sign if that's going to happen.
It's all 'cause my fingers. You don't like my fingers either. You want some pretty little fingers banging away at your typewriters with all them fancy spinning wheels and all.
And there are many questions about your fingers, such as how did they get this way and why are they slightly discolored? Why are they a bit rocky? But at the end of the day, it all seems irrelevant since you say you can do everything. You know, your fingers don't present any limits on the way you can work.
And I am strong as a crane.
Maybe you should get into construction since you're so strong.
Oh, no, I'm too brittle for that.
It sounds like you might have a bone condition. You really should get it diagnosed. Once you have a diagnosis, you could better understand your medical condition and even explain it to your employer so you can be accommodated.
I ain't got no money to pay docs.
Well, this is why it might be better if you have health insurance.
No government ain't gonna make me get no insurance.
You're running around with an unusual bone condition. You aren't sure what the side effects might be. You admit your bones are brittle. This is something you need to get medical attention for.
You ain't gonna turn me into no Democrat.
All right. This is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm a real employment discrimination lawyer. You can reach me at 877-525-0700. 877-525-0700 for race discrimination, religious discrimination, all that. 877-525-0700. I hope you're enjoying this scratchy voice of mine. We'll be back in a minute. This is Talk Radio 790 KABC.
Since 1993, the Employment Lawyers Group has been a results-oriented law firm whose goal is to get the client what they deserve. They've represented thousands of California employees who've lost their jobs, been sexually harassed, subjected to employment discrimination, or were owed wages on an individualized or group basis, such as a class action. They have a high rate of success. There are few situations involving employment law that they have not confronted. At the forefront of employee rights, they're often the first employee law firm to confront a new legal issue. For an experienced employment lawyer, call 877-525-0700. That's 877-525-0700. They have call takers standing by. Online, read more about the firm at employeelawca.com. They have offices throughout Southern California. Make your work problem theirs to solve.
No BS. Constitutionally guaranteed. AM790 KABC.
Don't stop me chugging a Red Bull.
Talk Radio 790 KABC. I'm Karl Gerber. I'm a real workplace lawyer. This is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. We've got a guest on with rocky fingers, a gold ring, and she lives on a fourble board. I've given out a lot of clues. It's a double-edged question. Who is this woman? 800-222-5222 if you're going to tell us. 800-222-5222. 800-222-5222. All right, so we got to get back to this little scenario we're dealing with, weird guest. In terms of your employment problems, it doesn't sound like I can help you. You're being fired for not being a good cultural fit. You aren't telling your employers what's wrong with you. You aren't asking for accommodations for disability. It isn't even clear you have a disability. Having brittle bones may or may not matter if your job is basically swatting flies.
Swatting flies into frying pans, mixing bowls. A lot of times say food, people's food.
It's certainly a pity you lost that particular job.
Ain't it? I got free meals there with all the fixings. Jell-O on my Weber's, Costco brand orange juice, and sour cream.
Excuse me, but there was... why would you want to eat food that had flies swatted into it?
Oh, they had this there casserole. It wasn't like any old casserole. They used about a pound of margarine and lots of ketchup. Then they toss in them Vienna sausages wrapped up tight in that American cheese. Oh, Mr. Gerber, you ever been to Vienna and had those sausages?
To tell you the truth, I haven't had a Vienna sausage from the frozen section or maybe a can in a long time. Hopefully no one's eating dinner right now and getting all grossed out by the particular dishes we're discussing. But I can guarantee you the sausages from Vienna aren't like the ones you're referring to.
No, I'm pretty sure it's called a Vienna sausage because it's from Vienna. They make them there.
A real Vienna sausage is pork and beef in a casing of sheep intestines. Say, a canned Vienna sausage by Libby's, available at Walmart or Dollar Tree, is a true American product.
We do the smokers on the 4th. I fancy myself eating a whole can when we're sitting out on the porch making fun of the, should I say it? It might be illegal.
I'm not sure our listeners are feeling a whole lot of love towards you.
Hey, Grandpops makes the best pork chops. That's why they call him Porky. Is that more high class for you?
It was your idea to come on here and be a hick. I'm not taking responsibility for this one.
I think everybody should take responsibility for their own acts. Just their acts. Nobody else's. That's a problem with the Democrats. They trying to help people who didn't take no responsibilities by being poor or like, just.
What? Maybe born in the wrong country? Their fault too?
That's damn right. They were born where they were born because they were meant to be born there.
This is getting too disgusting for my taste.
What, the smoked Vienna sausages?
So, do you have any life goals? Do they relate to employment?
Thank you for asking. I fancy myself, well, I'm fixing to open my very own nail boutique on account of the time I spent with my hands.
Well, that sounds interesting.
Like the Dollar Tree specials, it sure is. I'm going to do all the traditional stuff, like the glue-on plastic dragon lady nails, but I'm also going to do finger-changing colors.
Is that like upcoming fashion?
Sure are. I'm going to make it real party. Permanent tattoos of, hey, American flags, our president's face, even the hair Myron Alfombra pronounced matting and spelled Eminem does.
Now that's a business.
Things gotta do what she's gotta do to make a living.
Does this in some way relate to Remus Helms' thing?
Nerve of you, Mr. Gerber. Come to think of it, Remus Helms' thing is a lot more famous than I am ever gonna be.
With your permanent finger tattoo business, you're gonna go far. You really fill a void, not necessarily in a good way, but kind of like putting chewing gum in a hole in the wall and painting over it.
Thank you. Thank you. You hear my granddaddy told a real famous story about how he met my mama. He told that story about 71, almost 72 years ago. I don't think too many people remember no more.
Well, I love good stories. They say a successful trial lawyer is a great storyteller.
Then you must make you a total and complete loser. Who can follow your shows? They're completely out there.
Well, if you think these 6,000-word gems every week are the only stories I tell every week, you've got another mayonnaise-encrusted piece of fish stick coming.
What's coming? What's coming?
We aim to educate on employment law and entertain with comedy. These segments are not complete character studies from the food the characters eat to their sexual habits.
They aren't? Why don't we talk about all those mayonnaise and crushed Pringles?
I can't win with these guests.
Watch it, Gerber. Remember, I got more strength than a crane.
Well, maybe you could come on to one of my job sites and do some digging.
Could I? Would you pay me $10 an hour in cash money?
Well, since you aren't employed yet, I could ask you if you could meet the job requirements of lifting 120 pounds all the time and moving wheelbarrows that weigh over 600 pounds.
Oh, you betcha.
If that's all true, there are so many jobs you could do when minimum wage is more than $10 an hour. Cash money.
It ain't just my fingers that are rocks. I am solid as a rock.
And nothing's changing.
That's what this love is. Ooh, ooh.
Well, again, it sounds like there are many jobs for you out there. You could get a job singing Christmas casseroles all year long at the home buffet.
No, the Golden Corral. That's where I'm fixing to sing the national anthem every afternoon at 9.
And your cute, girlish face won't hurt either.
Ooh, I am all rock. And I've got $1 makeup from Alibaba all over my face.
Maybe, but all this rock stuff just seems to mean you're really fit, strong.
Don't you understand? I am a thing.
Oh, the first boat I ever bought was a sailboat.
Why you talking this yuppie stuff?
Her name was Escape.
Quiet, please. Quiet, please.
Oh, yeah, the radio show that was one of the most masterful ever, with one particular episode that rivaled War of the Worlds, and some consider the most chilling show on radio.
But that show never attracted no sponsor. More loyal fans than the rest of radio.
This sounds vaguely familiar, but I have Remus Helms with his 5 billion in girth and 14 inches of endowment.
Remus Helms' thing?
Please, no more about his thing.
But I am related.
To just his thing or all of Remus Helms?
Just his thing.
Oh, brother, that makes you very important, I suppose. But then again, you're a woman. Are you, aren't you?
Of course. You saw the cute little girlish face I got.
Yes, a cross between a cherub and a matryoshka, a traditional Russian doll made of wood and painted with colorful ornaments. One of the most popular souvenirs in Russia, widely distributed abroad under different names such as Aunt Olga, Babushka, or Mommy Doll.
Now, what a kind remark that is, Mr. Gerber. I am ever so flattered you called me Aunt Olga, but Babushka, that has such a bovine ring to it.
Almost like a cowbell.
I ain't got no cowbell, but I have this here string sticking out of the back by my rocket back.
Oh, that's odd. Is someone under the table pulling that string?
I am still a thing underneath all this $1 Alibaba makeup.
I suppose if someone's called a thing, that could be a form of discrimination, calling them something non-human, although referring to people by a non-human name or even a Type 2 Volkswagen isn't a protected characteristic.
Why, there was a Volkswagen thing in the 1993 movie Surf Ninjas.
Okay, I don't know where this conversation's going. We got a break. When we come back, maybe we're going to figure out who this person is. No one's calling in and telling me on the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show on Talk Radio 790 KABC.
The Employment Lawyers Group is a results-driven law firm whose goal is to get the right result for the client. They have represented employees with a high rate of success since 1993 throughout the state of California. They're only paid and if they are able to collect money from the employer, so there's not any upfront fees or costs in order to hire them. They have represented thousands of employees who've been terminated from their jobs, sexually harassed, subjected to employment discrimination, or are owed wages in an individualized or group basis such as a class action. Call 877-525-0700. That's 877-525-0700. They have operators standing by. They can also be reached at employeelawca.com. They have offices throughout Southern California. Hire them and make your workplace problem theirs to solve.
The proud home of Ben Shapiro. Weekdays, 3 to 6, AM 790 KABC.
Talk Radio 790 KABC. You're listening to Karl Gerber, Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm Karl Gerber, a real workplace lawyer, and we've got a guest on this show. And if you ate half of what this woman ate, you'd be having stomach problems too. She calls herself a thing. She's rocky, and I guess there's supposed to be a disability here. And I'm glad, guest, that at least now we're talking about a different type of thing. We started talking about a Volkswagen Type 2 thing.
I'm sorry. I got off track. We were talking about me being a thing.
A real hit, like a wonder, a big deal to someone who likes insects in their food?
It's like this. Granny was the first thing. Mama was half thing, half not thing. And I am 25% thing.
All right, so what's the difference between 50% thing and 100% thing?
100% thing got them spider legs.
No big deal. Lots of people have spider legs.
Luckily, I only got 2 of them spider legs.
Yeah, it would be unusual for a person to have more.
Oh, they had to cover Granny all up. Sometimes they even put red paint on her face to disguise her.
Sort of like when Moonshine used to wear elven ears to modem parties.
Same type of thing. The breeding's gotten better, though. I am much more refined.
Moonshine's kids, like, they don't wear elf ears?
Did you know his daughter wears elven boots?
Yeah, it's a pretty common fashion for lower grade school girls.
I must confess, I got a lot in common with Remus Helms thing. He's a distant cousin of mine from an oil well in Oklahoma.
Really?
Thank you. Story goes, Father Rishi Odinsky's pappy found Remus Helms thing.
Where did he find Remus Helms thing? In a men's room?
On a fourble board.
Oh, that's a fairly common place to find Remus Helms thing, 80 feet up on an oil derrick.
His thing used to be underground. I do declare 2 miles underground.
I didn't realize Remus Helms' thing was that long.
He barely 3 feet tall.
The size of Remus Helms' thing just keeps increasing and increasing.
Well, that's what happens to things when they get lots of nutrients and stimulation. There ain't no limit to how large a thing can grow.
With the commercials I hear on talk radio about no appointment necessary, sometimes I wonder.
They talk about things on talk radio?
We're talking about a thing right now.
Oh, I guess we are.
And I'm really getting tired of talking about the thing, particularly Remus Helms' thing.
Well, we're talking about me and my people. And if that makes you tired, then you better retire.
There are other things to talk about, like politics and employment law, even Los Angeles history.
See, I know them people listening know about that cute little prehistoric thing who comes up on them fourble boards. Why Porky gets so scared of that thing, I don't know.
Porky, Fangs, this is too much for our mature listening audience.
Are you scared of something? Terrified?
Should I be?
Ah, shucks. I guess people aren't afraid of nothing no more. They said it was the most terrifying radio show other than War of the Words.
I'm just sort of indifferent to things like we're talking about. War of the Words? Was that a lawyer radio show?
Remus Helms thing is one of the nicest men I've ever met.
I'd assume he's famous.
His thing got together all the best ostrich eggs for Hanita Orchid Helms' birthday, and now he's doing the same thing for Easter.
That weird cosplay thing.
He's a thing just like me.
Right. I'm a thing too, I guess.
No, you ain't. You ain't no rock. You fingers don't break off. Watch it, watch it.
Please don't break your finger in the middle of the show.
Oh, okay. I won't be so dramatic. Do you have anything to help me relax? You ain't got no vodka, you ain't got no ginger ale and a lime, do you?
No, but I have a bologna, lots of mayonnaise, and a rubbery American cheese sandwich.
Oh, that'll do.
Eat up, and I'll try not to puke.
Now that I'm more relaxing, I gotta get back to my thing. I am Porky and the thing's grandbaby.
No.
Don't you get it? Look, I'm from down below. I am only a quarter human.
No, none of that is possible.
Prehistoric creatures living down in them oil wells and getting up 80 feet onto the fourble board.
Oh, I don't see you climbing 80 feet up a fourble board each night just to drink your cheap whiskey. I'm a little doubtful you could live on a fourble board, but these guests never cease to amaze me.
How do you think I could afford the high rents in Oildale? Besides, I do other stuff up there, including with the creature.
2, there is no prehistoric creature down below in the oil well that makes its way up to the fourble board.
But there is.
3, Porky was a roughneck 20 years before the 1948 broadcast of the certain Quiet Please radio show. He'd be well over 120 by now, but besides, the radio show wasn't about a real-life event.
Oh, now that's where I beg to differ.
I can't take this begging.
How in the hell do you think I got this disability?
I'm not real clear what your disability is.
The creature from the fourble board. He did it to me. But I love him nonetheless. And there ain't nothing Porky or Podunk gonna do about it, neither.
I'm all mixed up. If I recall my radio history, the creature, the thing that came up on the fourble board, was a woman with a girl's face but a spider-like body. Porky ended up marrying her. You're talking about creatures who are men.
Was I?
Yes.
I slipped up. I slipped up.
What's really going on here?
Chapstick is all washed up after Myron Alfombra pronounced Manning and spelled M&M stole the database of every sanitary napkin use. He stole it on the 8-inch floppy drive. My brother-in-law has gone mad singing Queen songs in the bathroom of his party bus. I had to do something for money.
Starlight, it's you. I should have known. Thank you. And the string in the back that's making you talk these days. You're all wrapped up in adhesives, but you aren't paid to be on this show.
I got a free Kraft mayonnaise, bologna, and American cheese sandwich on... What is this crap anyway?
They call it white bread.
You just made a racist comment. You gotta pay me.
And to think I spent eons with you in episode 28, trapped in various points in history, all to resurrect your friend Hanita Orchid Helms, and you come on the show wrapped in adhesives, pretending to be a thing descending from a 1948 radio show.
And I had to say good things about Trump. Did I stoop lower than I did on episode 16, Employment Fraud and Blondish Homelessness?
Yes.
When I pretended to be the one defrauded into employment, and it was Hanita Orchid Helms? And then she was forced to take a job at X10415 and she got bored to death and we had to resurrect her.
Yeah, I guess that was worse. Your best friend was forced into taking a mindless, boring job and it literally killed her.
Where can I hear that episode? I'd like to hear it before I go to sleep so I can't sleep.
Karl Gerber with a K, workplace lawyer on YouTube, iTunes if you wish, any sound sharing site, workplacelawyer.org, all one word. That's a website just for the show. I can't believe Starlight spent the last hour impersonating a Hick who was descendant from the thing on the fourble board. I just can't believe it.
And I was hoping you'd exonerate me.
Exonerate you? I don't think so. All right, we've talked about disabilities. They're real. They can be physical disabilities or they can be physiological disabilities. Obviously, the employer has to know about the disability or there's the should know standard in order for them to have to accommodate the disability. If the employer fires an employee because of the disability, that could be wrongful termination. But if the employer is completely unaware of the disability, it's going to be a difficult situation. In terms of all this discrimination stuff, there's reverse discrimination for white people. There's other types of discrimination for religion also, telling not very funny and not very good jokes at work about any religion, even to a member of that religion, is not the thing to do. It could get you fired. If you have a real workplace problem, I'd like to talk to you at 877-525-0700. I'm licensed in 4 states. I do have an office in Bakersfield, 3 in LA County, and a bunch more in Southern California. That's 877-525-0700. Once again, 877-525-0700 for real representation by an employee lawyer. Wherever you are in California, I can represent you. I can represent you if you're in Texas, Washington, D.C., or the state of Massachusetts. And just in terms of this show, I did it this week. I did it, some of the lines from it in front of an LGBT client of mine from Bakersfield, and she thought it was very funny. Oildale is quite a place. A lot of people say you just don't go there. A famous comedian named Fluffy has a whole bunch of skits about Oildale. It's not a good place to be. But Bakersfield actually isn't the way a lot of people say it is, and I hope I didn't offend too many people, but they say, you know, if you haven't offended at least one person, you haven't done your show. So this is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show on Talk Radio 790 KABC. I'll be back next week, but you should listen on YouTube or one of those sound sharing devices. Thanks again for listening. Have a good week at work.
This show furnished by Karl Gerber and Employment Lawyers Group.